consent request.
Gentleman's recognized.
So I've got 4 documents I'd like to introduce into the record. The first one is Jeffrey Epstein's 6 story played out for years in plain sight. And Acosta is quoted in here saying, "I was told Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone." The second document is entitled, "What Epstein's Bodyguard Warned About His CIA Connections." The third document is from Fox Digital. It's titled, "Epstein's Private Calendar Reveals Planned Meetings with Obama Admin Official CIA Chief." And the last document is Wall Street Journal article that highlights Ehud Barak's 36 meetings with Jeffrey Epstein. He was the former Prime Minister of Israel and head of military intelligence for Israel. It may have held that title when he met Epstein, and then, yes.
Without objection, the gentleman will hold for a second. The gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just one UC request. This is Judge Engelmeyer's decision from August in U.S. versus Epstein, stating the government's 100,000 pages of Epstein files dwarfs the 70-odd pages of Epstein grand jury materials.
Without objection, the gentleman from Kentucky is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Patel, I watched some of your Senate hearing yesterday when Senator Kennedy asked you, "You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these women to besides himself?" You replied, according to the transcript, "There is no credible information that he trafficked them to anyone else." You also said somewhere in the hearing and here today that the problem is that the case files are constrained by limited search warrants from 2006 to 2007, and that the non-prosecution agreement hamstrung future investigations. Those constraints only apply to Southern District of Florida. They do not apply to Southern District of New York, the location of the 2019 sex trafficking indictment, which produced many things, including a series of FD 302 documents. According to victims who cooperated with the FBI in that investigation, these documents in FBI possession, your possession, detail at least 20 men, including Mr. Jess Staley, CEO of Barclays Bank, who Jeffrey Epstein trafficked victims to, victims including minors, such as Virginia Roberts Giuffre, may she rest in peace. That list also includes at least 19 other individuals, one Hollywood producer worth a few $100 million, one royal prince, one high-profile individual in the music industry, one very prominent banker, one high-profile government official, one high-profile former politician, one owner of a car company in Italy, one rock star, one magician, at least 6 billionaires, including a billionaire from Canada. We know these people exist in the FBI files, the files that you control. I don't know exactly who they are, but the FBI does. Have you launched any investigations into any of these people, and have you seen these 302 documents?
Sir, I have asked my FBI agents to review the entirety of the Epstein files and bring forth any credible information, and we're working with Congress not only to divulge that information and produce it to you, but any investigations that arise from any credible investigation will be brought. There have been no new materials brought to me launching a new indictment.
So is the loophole here, or is it your assertion that these victims aren't credible, that the 302s maybe didn't produce credible statements that rise to a probable cause?
It's not my assertion, sir. It's the assertion of 2 different United States attorneys' offices from 3 separate administrations who investigated those same materials in lifetime.
Are the 302 documents in the FBI's possession?
They reviewed all that, yes, sir.
And so have you reviewed those 302 documents where the victims name the people who victimized them?
If I personally know, but the FBI has.
So how can you sit here and in front of the Senate and say there are no names?
I said
I named one today.
I said we are not in the practice at the Department of Justice FBI of releasing victims' names. That is not what we do. We are also not in the habit of releasing incredible information. That's not what we do. But multiple authorities have looked at the entirety of what we have.
Okay, I got to move on here. Were you present when the AG had the White House event when she released the binders to the social media influencers?
I was, yes.
So if you're willing to meet with social media influencers who stood to benefit from the sensational and sad stories of these victims, will you meet with the victims as well?
The FBI will meet with anyone who has new information.
Will you personally meet with them?
The FBI and the professionals who are handling the cases will.
Were you instructed that it was important to release the documents to the Oversight Committee on the day of my introduction of the discharge petition to release these files?
I don't know what day that was, so no.
Well, they were released that day, and there were victims' names who weren't redacted because they were in such a rush, and the victims are not happy about that. Have you investigated any of the CIA connections? Have you seen the CIA file on Jeffrey Epstein? And if you wanted to see it, would they show it to you?
Well, I can speak for the FBI, and that's presuming there's a CIA case file, and I've reviewed everything that the interagency, not I, the FBI, that was provided to us.
Would you be willing to look at the CIA file on Jeffrey Epstein?
If there is such a file, and if it has not already been turned over to the FBI will look at any new investigative leads.
Have you made any progress on the pipe bomb investigation January 6th? And have you made any progress on the motive of the Las Vegas shooter?
As to the first, it's an ongoing investigation, and we have made progress. As to the second, sir, I'll have to get back to you.
All right, thank you. I yield back.
Mr. Chairman, I have a
A dramatic exchange unfolded in Congress as Rep. Thomas Massie grilled FBI Director Kash Patel about the extent of the FBI's knowledge on Jeffrey Epstein's alleged network and any involvement by other agencies, including the CIA. Massie cited 4 published reports, including a quote from former U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta, who reportedly claimed he was told to leave Epstein alone because he belonged to intelligence. Massie pressed Patel repeatedly, asking if he had personally reviewed the FBI's FD 302 documents records of victim interviews that reportedly named at least 20 men, including high-profile bankers, a royal prince, a Hollywood producer, and other powerful figures. Massie asked Patel directly whether he had ever seen a CIA file on Epstein, and if he would be willing to review one. Patel responded that he had not personally read the FD 302s, but that the FBI had reviewed them, and that if a CIA file existed and had not been provided to the FBI, he would be willing to look at it. This exchange shines a spotlight on one of the most persistent and unsettling questions surrounding the Epstein scandal. Was there protection or interference by intelligence agencies? By introducing articles referencing alleged CIA ties and pressing Patel about interagency files, Massie framed the issue as potentially more than just a criminal investigation. He raised the specter of a political and institutional cover-up. Patel's response acknowledging he had not personally read the FD 302s, yet defending the FBI's work and citing multiple administration reviews highlights a recurring problem in the Epstein saga. A perception that those in power are deflecting or slow-walking accountability. While Patel's position may be legally defensible, protecting victim privacy and respecting court constraints the optics of not directly addressing the CIA question feed public suspicion that there is more to the story. The broader implication is a credibility crisis for institutions. The public wants to know whether the FBI and other agencies did enough to pursue every lead, regardless of the power or prominence of the individuals named. Massie's focus on possible intelligence connections reflects a deep mistrust of government, and his challenge to Patel resonated with those who believe the full truth about Epstein's network has been withheld. For the public and survivors, this hearing underscored a painful reality. Even years after Epstein's death, there is still no closure or clear accountability. Until agencies like the FBI demonstrate full transparency and proactively address questions about interagency records, the perception of a cover-up will remain, and with it, a shadow over the integrity of America's institutions. So here's the question for you. Do you believe Patel's explanation that the FBI has reviewed all available evidence? Or do you think, like Massie suggests, that powerful interests and perhaps other agencies have kept the truth hidden? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get this conversation going. And if you want more hard-hitting analysis of hearings like this one, hit that like button, smash subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss a breakdown of the stories that shape our democracy. Because the fight for full transparency in the Epstein case isn't over, and as long as key questions about interagency files remain unanswered, public trust will continue to hang in the balance.